18 races down, a all-star race, and the crash at the start of the season have all come down to this. 10 races to go, 12 drivers have a chance at the championship. Starting at Indianapolis and ending at Atlanta, the next 10 races are some of the best and some of the most chaotic races on the season. Who will win the Season 6 JBL Cup Series Championship? It all starts off today with the JBL Cup Series race through the Chase at the Brickyard, one of the most famous racetracks in the country, for the Gainbridge Brickyard 400 for Season 6 of the JBL Cup Series. What's up, everyone? It's your boy Racing 97, aka Nathan Stapleton, and welcome to the Brickyard. Welcome to IMS Raceway, one of the best tracks in the country and one of the top tier events on the JBL Cup Series calendar, and in my opinion, the final crown jewel race on the season, and it is, as it always has been, the Chase Kickoff for the Cup Series. And it's going to be a fun day of action. This track is a lot of fun. 2 pit stops, 40 laps, and of course the Chase Kickoff. And you see it right there. These drivers out in the Chase, they will have the orange band on the car. And we have some of the best this season. And they will all get out trying to win the Season 6 Championship in 10 races time. We got Elijah up here in the booth for this one. Welcome back to Indianapolis, and welcome officially to the Season 6 JBL Cup Series Chase.
Man, my hair's standing up at the back of my neck. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but it's go time here in Indianapolis. That's all I can really tell you there.
It exactly is go time, and you know, if this wasn't just the Chase opener, it would still be a big deal, but this is the Brickyard. This is the Brickyard 400 now, no longer the Discord 400. And it is a big time deal to win here at the Brickyard. And especially for the Chase kickoff here today. And we got Matthew Hubert with the points reset, 4th in points. He starts on pole. And in a dominating performance this season, got 3rd in the regular season championship, had 5 wins on his plate. Put him to the top as the number 1 seed, starts 2nd here today. Local doing the regular season champion, starts 3rd. How do you think today's going to go with all these chasers going after the win for these final 10 races, and especially today? But also, still got everyone else trying to get some wins in the final 10 races.
Well, first things first, especially for the drivers that have already blocked their spot into the chase for the JBL Cup for this season. It's like I mentioned, it's go time. So all these drivers, all the 12 drivers that we currently have, they're gonna go all out. They're gonna go for wins. They're gonna go for top 5s. They're gonna go for every position that they can get, because every point matters, every position matters, every lap matters, especially the last one, for very, very obvious reasons. As for everybody else, I mean, they've got really nothing to lose practically, so they can go the rest of the season, pretty much try to at least finish off the season strong, maybe try to get a win before the year's done and over with. But for these chasers, they know it's go time. And what a better place to kick it off here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You mentioned it. There's so much history to this place. And, I mean, you want to win here in Indianapolis. And especially since this is the opening race to the JBL Chase, the stakes couldn't be any higher. So to kick off the JBL Chase for the Cup, and then here at Indianapolis, of all places, I think this definitely is a pretty big deal, in my opinion.
Exactly, and you know, why not break tradition when it has worked for the first 5 seasons of the Brickyard, kicking things off here for the Season 6 JBL Cup Chase. And of course, everyone's going to try and get some wins, especially outside of the top 12 in points. They really want to be the best of the West champion. It's not an official championship, But I like to refer to it as the best of the rest because it's kind of important for you to finish 13th in points and be the highest non-chaser, in my opinion. But then you got the rest of the chasers. All 12 of them. Aiden Miller, the number 1 seed, rightfully so. He's been the dominant driver of the season. 2,033 points with the point reset. Ahead of local doing our regular season champion by 13 points. Stuart Grennan in third, 16 points behind. Matthew Hubert in fourth, 17 points behind. Local Williams in fifth, 18 bat. The winner of yesterday in the Krispy Kreme National Series race and last time out at Pocono. 15 wins, all-time train winner. And he made it into both National and Cup Series chases this year. Jordan is minus 28. Nicholas Samdio minus 29. Marlon Kennington minus 30. Duncan Ward minus 31. John Andrews minus 32. And then the two wild cards of Abel and Garcia. And with the points reset, you can really tell that Miller's been really strong this season. But Doran, Gren, Hubert, and Williams have all been right there for the points. And we just gotta wait and see of how that all shakes out. The chase drivers that start here today are Matthew Hubert first, Aiden Miller second, Local Dawn third, and Abel in fourth. Jonas in sixth, Stuart Gren in ninth, Duncan Wood in 19th, Sam with Dio in 21st, Kennington 22nd, Garcia in 23rd, Andrews in 24th, and Logan Williams in 25th. So that is the top. That is where all the chase drivers are starting in the top 10. As these drivers are going to get rolling off here at the Brickyard for race number 19 on the season. And the top 10 is as follows. Matthew Hubert with his second pole on the season, alongside, as mentioned, the dominant driver on the year of Andrew Miller. Local Dawn and Abel, one of the wildcard drivers, and on number 2, Eli Bright, who won 3 poles in a row to end the regular season. He's going to be a strong driver throughout the chase as a non-chase driver, alongside Mr. Jordan Edwards. Eric Margo, another driver that could be strong as a non-chase driver in the chase, and the number 20 of Matthew Burnett. And then right out of the top 10 is Stuart Gren and the number 47 and our Daytona 500 winner of Jordan Stout. 40 laps, 36 drivers as normal, 2 pit stops on tap today, and it is the chase for the Cup kickoff. And I'm gonna put all the pressure on the hands, Elijah. Who do you think will win the Brickyard 400?
In my honest opinion, I think I'm going to go with the guy that's been a major threat for this championship, I'd say for the whole season. 5-time winner this year, Andrew Miller, from the outside pole. He's had the speed all year. He's had the consistency. I mean, who knows? I mean, he could use that to his advantage coming in to kick off this chase with a win and get him, continued on the right direction, that is. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But nonetheless, Andrew Miller is my pick to win.
Not a bad pick. He has the most wins out of anyone that's not even close. But we've seen some crazy stuff here once we get to the chase. We saw last year, and who knows what we will see this year. Thank you for a fantastic season so far, and it's time to crown ourselves the champion in the next 10 weeks. Matthew Hubert and Miller will lead us to the green flag, and the official JBL Cup Series Chase to the Cup is officially underway. The 2025 Gainbridge Brickyard 400 is green at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A clean lap number 1 to kick off the chase. Matthew Hubert will lead lap number 1 in the number 5 machine. Local Dawn in second, and a driver that's still trying to get his first career Cup Series win, and that is Jordan Edwards in the number 9 machine, Eli Bright in 4th, Andy Miller in 5th, and Mayon Abel running out the top 6. And just so everyone knows, the orange banner on these race cars that make the chase will signify that they are in this year's chase, and they are 1, 2, 3 right now early on lap number 2.
And you kind of saw it there on those shots coming through 3 and 4. Everybody's now starting to get themselves into a single file rhythm because they know it's early in this race. There's still a good ways to go. I mean, we still got a good amount of racing going on over here. Number 51 machine, I would say that's Wyatt Wilkinson in that 51. He just got around the 99 of Noah Clifton, but now I think that was the problem for Wilkinson, because he just went to the outside, and now everybody's going to go right around him on the bottom. And especially for a place like Indianapolis, I mean, for Indy cars, I'm pretty sure the outside might be the way to go. I mean, I might be wrong on that information, but for stock cars, obviously the inside line is the shortest way around. It's the preferred way to go, but you get that corner exit get that corner exit speed on the straightaways. I mean, you should definitely go flying, but as of right now, clean and green for the time being. Got the number 47, Stuart Grant getting underneath of the 16 of Eric Monaco. Challenge for the lead is on. Rogel Dorn to the inside of Matthew Huber going into 1.
And Rogel Dorn is going to take the race lead away. And we saw yesterday in the National Series race, the bottom was where you want to be, but turn 4 you can sometimes get a 1 on the outside. Same with turn 2. And just like yesterday in the National Series race, it was hot. 92 degrees. Today is 88 degrees, slightly cooler, but when it's that warm, it doesn't really matter for the track. So it's definitely going to be a factor all day long. And able trying to get to the inside of our point leader of Andrew Miller. And honestly, Abel could be a sleeper. He made it in on a wild card, but he's been very fast for a while this season. Nashville, he could have won that race if he didn't blow up. And honestly, he could have made it into the chase based off of points. So Abel has been very strong this year ever since winning at Michigan earlier in the summer. And he could be a sleeper in this chase. Huber trying to get back to the back bumper and to the inside. But right now it is our regular season champion of Rogel Dorn leading the field at the Brickyard.
Another thing to point out here, I mean, especially when it comes down to the racing aspect, the draft is going to be absolutely key because of obviously the length of this racetrack. The straightaways are going to be your best bet on trying to set up passes going into corners, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. Hubert taking a peek to the inside of Rogel Dorn here, but not going to be able to execute on that run, so he's going to slide right back in line heading back into the first corner. But you mentioned it there. I mean, for Aaron Abel, I would definitely agree with him being a sleeper pick here for this championship fight. You know, he won at Michigan. He was the wild card to get into this year's chase for the JBL Cup. So I would definitely keep my eyes on that number 11 of Aaron Abel.
Absolutely. And I know the stats don't show for it, but he's had a lot of good top 10 ones that didn't finish well. Like Nashville was the prime example. Could have won that race, was in 3rd. So Abel was looking strong early on, and then that number 11 machine. And we're going to have to pit stops here as normal around 15 to 16 laps. So that's going to be very key on what these drivers end up doing. Right now, it is still Rogel Dorn and Matthew Hubert. Hubert, I thought was going to make a 1 to the inside, but going to think better of it. Going to check on the field here. Grant is in the 7th position. Stout in 8th. Unfortunately, did not make it into the chase after winning the Daytona 500, but looks like he has speed here today. And then same with Eric Monaco in 9th. And how about there? Matthews inside the top 10 in 10th. Zachary Fitzwater in 11th. Matthew Burnett in 12th. Rogel Dorn's teammate of Duncan Ward is on the charge after a poor qualifying effort inside the top 13. Juan Garcia in 14th as Burnett to inside of Fitzwater. And then you got Justin Seidel in the 15th position early on. And then you got Joe Kowski coming the best of the West driver in 13th. 13th in points. He's coming in the 15th position, or 16th. Logan Williams in the 17th spot, Wyatt Wilkinson in 18th, and then rounding out the top 20 is two Team Penske cars of Bradley Williams and Alexander Vitale. And unfortunately, a tough start for some of these drivers in the back part of the field here. Like John Andrews, like Juan Killington, same with Dio, and Travis Grantham especially dead last, and it's been a not good season for that 45 machine. The longest winner streak in the JBL Cup Series at over 100 races and over 2,000 plus days. That's why he's not going to get the win here today, and we missed the pass for the race lead, of course, as Matthew put to the race lead, but we are starting to get racy inside the top 6.
Yeah, you just saw it there. You had Aaron Abel, Eli Bright, and also the 21 of Andrew Miller kind of all just on top of each other behind the top 3. They were also kind of just slowly catching up to our top, to these 3 cars, Doran, Hubert, and also the 9 machine of Jordan Edwards. But we just saw it there. I mean, they're going back at it. Doran wants that lead back. And Jordan Edwards is like, hey, I'm just going to sit right here and go. I'm just going to stick right behind Rogel Dorn here. Granted, Edwards and Hubert are teammates for Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, theoretically speaking, they don't necessarily have to work together, but it would be necessary. But you also just saw right here, Abel, Miller, and also Bright, they've all caught the top 3. So now this is a 6-horse fight for the lead.
And you know, I talked about this ever since the rains that started last year. I wanted a lot of the drivers up front to be in the chase and be battling for the championship, and this is a prime example. The top 5 are all chase drivers, and then you got Eli Bright is finally on a good side of momentum, and then you got Stuart Grant in 7th, and that makes it 6 out of the top 7 all chase drivers, but it's still a long way to go here at Indianapolis, only on lap 10 of 40. Still got 2 pit stops, and round 1 of pit stops in about 5 or 6 laps time. How about Abel? He might have a long one call here to the inside for second, and he's going to take it with Miller right behind him.
Man, he just got such a run down the front straightaway and just used that to his advantage. Executed that perfectly. Slingshot it into turn 1, sent it in, and obviously he's taken over that second position. But also Andrew Miller pulled up the back bumper of Abel there pretty decently through that little short straight heading into turn 2. But he's got his hands full now with Matthew Hubert to the inside. Heading through turn 4, you got Eli Bright right there tailing the 5 of Hubert, and Jordan Edwards kind of doing what he was doing with Rogel Dorn and Matthew Hubert just a handful of laps ago, especially to kick off the race, kind of just waiting in the wings. No pun intended, by the way, because of the sponsorship.
Gotta have that impromptu Who's plug with the wings and the owl, but yeah, some good stuff. We saw this yesterday with the hot and slit racetrack in the National Series race. We saw some fantastic racing, and we're seeing some really good racing right now here in the later part of this first one. And I think some of these drivers are trying to set themselves up for this first round of pit stops here today in about 3 or 4 laps time. Who put to the inside of Miller, same with the 9 to the inside of the 42. And it's going to be interesting of what strategy ends up working out for these drivers, if they undercut or they overcut. Because there's 2 pit stops once again here today, and that's going to be a factor here. Shout out to Stuart catching up to the top 6, and really a lot of these guys are starting to close back into each other. And we definitely got to watch out for Duncan Wood and Ron Garcia, Watkowski here later on in the 1, if they can make some moves up to the front, and especially Logan Williams as well. Trying to do the weekend sweep 1 yesterday in the National Series race. And tell you what, Elijah, we've talked a lot about Aaron Abel this race, but he might have one of the fastest cars on the long one here today.
I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, his car is just absolutely set up for the long runs, and I mean, it's really showing. But now the question will be, once pit stops come around, and you know, if he's able to replicate what he's able to do to kick off this race, because we've seen before. I mean, we're currently seeing obviously the tire fall off, and you know, these drivers are kind of nursing their cars, if you will, kind of around the corners. As Aaron Abel's going to go to the inside to take over this race lead. So we're going to hold that thought for a second. a nice little textbook pass right here, but Dorn tried to hold on there down the straight, and almost got himself turned because Andrew Miller had a full head of steam and almost turned the 3 of Rogel Dorn. But going back to that thought, we're seeing that tire fall off, especially through the corners because of how, because of the track temperatures and how slick this racetrack really is under this hot beaming sun. So I wouldn't be surprised if all these drivers started to overcut it, especially if you're Aaron Abel. So in the case of Aaron Abel, speaking of, going back to the other thought that I had, it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to replicate this long run speed that he's been able to put together here as he's leading the way.
Absolutely, and I'm not too surprised. If Abel does hang on to get this race win, he will win at 2 of the more high-speed, engine-dependent racetracks this season of Michigan and Indy. So, not too surprised about that. And to that point, at Michigan, it was a JGL 1-2. So, I think JGL, they've been consistent overall, but I think they found a sweet spot on some of these higher speed racetracks. And here we go, lap 15. Undercut has begun for Matthew Hubert and Eli Bright.
They're currently, as far as I can see here, only the first 2 cars make that 3, as we've got the 2. That would be Justin Zeidel coming on down pit road. So 3 cars coming in. Everybody else stays out to kick off this first round of green flag pit stops.
And hopefully, knock on wood, we have a clean cycle here in this one. We've had some problems before at the Brickyard. Just look at one of the birthday bash races in the past and you'll see why. Pit road can be a little bit sketchy, especially when everybody goes on pit road at the same time. And it looks like those 3 are going to wrap up their service. And let's see here. Aaron Abel is going to go down pit road on lap 16. Same with the 3, 21, 9, 47, 16, 23, the 7, the 8, 48, 43. Majority of the field are down on pit road, but Sam Vitale is the first one to stay out.
There's a couple other cars that are staying out there. Say that's the 1, Bibby Ruiz, and also the 4 of Kenneth Miller. So 3 cars stay out here. Everybody else comes in, and I think the benefactor of everybody else coming down and pitting at the same time, obviously it was because of the fact that everybody was spread out entering the pits. It's definitely not going to be the same way when they leave. So it's going to be interesting to see how this running order is going to look after this first round of green flag stops.
Absolutely, and luckily with a busy pit road, we are good for pit entry and able with a good stop, and gonna easily be the race leader out of that group. And looks like pretty even with most of these drivers. And looks like a lot of drivers got a good stop. Matthew Burnett got a slow stop in the number 20 machine, it looks like. Same as John Anderson, the 34 with a poor stop. But he's been kind of in the back all day. Same with the 19 of Ronald Killington. And same with Dio with a poor stop as well. Now BB Ruiz, Kenneth Miller, and Alexander Vitale, they are doing the overcut. And we'll see what ends up happening for that, because they still have to make the second stop. Everyone will have to no matter what. But the 3 cars that undercutted and the 3 cars that overcutted might be interesting on what ends up happening there. And, well, we mentioned the undercut, and I don't think it's too bad for the 5 of Matthew Hubert who did the undercut. And he is still right alongside the one for the second place spot.
I'd also have to say the same thing for Eli Bright in the 42, because he was one of the other 2 cars that came down with also Matthew Hubert and also Justin Zeidel that also undercutted to kick off that round of green flag pit stops, and it very much so benefited Hubert and Bright, but because they had the track position going in. But obviously for Justin Zeidel, it's a little bit of a different story. Probably I would have hoped for him to be inside of the top 10, but that obviously was not the case. Close call there, as you just saw, between Bright and Hubert. It looked like that Eli Bright was going to try to make a pass going into turn 4, and Matthew Hubert just obviously just pinched him down so much that Brian had to get out of the gas, and unfortunately he's paying the price. So here comes Rogel Dorn to the inside trying to take third away, but not going to be able to make it stick going through turn 2.
Not quite, as Abel is under fire from Matthew Hubert in the number 5 machine, as I thought I saw someone on pit road. I think it might have been the 99 of Noah Clifton. And it was, so I don't know if he did the overcut, or if he had some kind of a problem. And I don't see anything in the chat, so maybe Noah Clifton did the overcut and I didn't realize it. So that might be interesting, or maybe something happened on pit road. Not entirely sure. Tough day for Lord Driver, or one of the 2 drivers, Elijah. But so right now, almost halfway through the Gainbridge Brickyard 400, and it's been dominated by Aeon Abel in the number 11. He put in second, and the number 5 trying to get to the corner panel of the 11. Bright in third, Dorn in fourth, and Jordan in fifth, Angel Miller in sixth, Stuart Grand in seventh, and Marco in eighth, Jordan Stout in ninth, and then Duncan Ward is now inside the top 10 in the number 8 machine. Local Williams in 11th and 38 machine, and then Dylan Matthews in the 12th position, Wachowski in 13th, Woe in 14th, and Garcia rounds out the top 15.
Honestly, some really impressive runs going, for some of these guys. And look at this, Eli Bright making the move to the inside for that second spot, and Rogel Dorn's going to go with. And it's actually kind of awesome to see that Eli Bright is getting up here with these chase contenders and just roughing up some feathers, if you will, because he's one of those drivers that he's not in the chase. He doesn't really have anything to lose, so he can just go out and try to have himself a really strong finish to the season. And it's unfortunate that Eli Bright is not in this position where he's fighting for a championship, because he's had so much speed throughout the course of the season. I think, if I remember correctly, didn't he wind up winning at Loudon a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, he won at Nashville before that, but he was second and ended up being Miller winning. And not only Eli got third, and Wachowski got second. So Lexi Mill Club, they found finally some luck, and they've had speed all year, but they finally had luck. But unfortunately, it was too little too late. But like you said, I think Lexi Mill Club, they're going to be a contender as a non-chase team all season long. We'll see, I won 3 poles in a row, one at Nashville. So I could easily see Wachowski and Bright win a race in these next 10 races, and I will not be surprised.
Yeah, so I mean, it is. I really would have loved to see Eli Bright in the chase for this season, but I mean, hey, still good props for him. I mean, he can still go on and finish the season strong. Same goes for Rakowski. But looking at Duncan Ward here, he's already crept inside of the top 10. He's already picking off another driver, more drivers one by one, starting off with Eric Monaco. Now, eventually going to set his sights on Stuart Grattan here in this number 47. Here eventually, but right now Duncan Ward just very quietly moving up inside of the top 10.
One step at a time for Duncan. This is exactly what he needs, because about 6 out of the 12 chase drivers started inside the top 10, and then the other 6 started outside of the top 15, and a lot of them started outside of the top 20. So definitely a great one from Duncan Wood, and another one that started deep in the field was Logan Williams in the number 38. So a couple of good rebound ones from them. And we gotta see what ends up happening. We still got that second round of pit stops, but right now, Aaron Abel is looking really strong in that number 11 machine. And then for Local Dawn, currently in second, Miller in sixth. So it would be a small improvement, a small points boost for Local Dawn for race number 1, for him to go from 13 to, I want to say, maybe 7-8 points. So just got to chip away at it, and I think it's going to be fairly tough to make up ground on people this season in the chase, unless, someone has a mechanical failure, just with how tight it has been. But how about these two Chevys? They draft them together and they have caught up to Abel. And now we might see a three-way fight again with Abel, Dawn, and Matthew Hubert.
That'd be and as always, that's going to be a pretty interesting fight here for this race lead. And obviously, after this next round of green flag pit stops, it's obviously going to be coming down for the win. So, nonetheless, these drivers are still going to fight it out, as much as they possibly can until the next round of pit stops come on around. So, kind of a similar song, but yet different dance. Remember, this is how as far as the scenario, top three pulling away from everybody else, this is kind of a similar scenario to what we started off the race with. Whew. And here we go. Dorn making it work down on the inside. He just absolutely sent it in.
Turn 1 has been a really good spot to make that pass here today. And Dorn back to the race lead. No cautions, but you know what? We saw this at Pocono. We didn't need a caution at Pocono because it was fantastic racing all day and with the strategy. And once again, fantastic racing up front. Full of car battle for the race lead at the moment. And we still have a second round of pit stops to go in about 10, not 10, but about 6 to 8 laps time. We're about halfway through the fuel window. We put 2 wins on the scene, trying to get win number 3 here today. He has a good shot. Dorn, he's not won since Auto Club within, I believe, the first 5 races of the season. But he was consistent enough to win the regular season title. I'm sure he will want another win. And of course, Abel won at Michigan during the summer, and Eli Bright won at Nashville during the summer. So, besides Matthew, but all these guys are trying to get the second round on the season. And then he got 5th place, a joint that was Mr. Consistent in his own right. He's still trying to get his first win on the season and in his career.
Yeah, there's still a good amount of time for him to actually do it. There's after today, there's 9 races to go. You said.
Yep. 9.
All right, so
9 to go.
So he's definitely got a good amount of time to actually go out and at least nab 1 win before this season's done and over with, to get his first JBL Cup win. But time's running out. So maybe if the strategy falls right into his lap, today could be the day for Jordan Edwards. But then again, who really knows? It's been mostly this top 4 up at the front of the field all race long, for the most part. Other than Jordan Edwards, who kicked off the race with the top 3, but he's kind of just been lingering back here in this 5th position along with Andrew Miller. They haven't really left the top 10 area throughout pretty much the entire day today. So they've just mostly kind of lingering back there, just kind of buying their time and just riding.
And not a bad strategy, and just trying to hope something happens and maybe take advantage of it on the second pit stop. Now, I will say, you have to watch out for local millions and Duncan Ward here, because especially local millions. He won at Pocono 2 weeks ago. He won yesterday in the National Series race. He's trying to get his 16th win on the channel and do the weekend sweep. So outside of the top 20, up to 7th, maybe he has a shot. He's pulling away from Duncan Wood, Stuart Grant, Eric Marco, and the number 23 of Jordan Stout. So he might have a shot here on the second round of pit stops, and that's going to be very interesting, because after pit stops, it's only going to be roughly 8 laps to go. So I don't know, maybe some people can do 2 tires, but I think 4 tires will probably be the way to go, as side by side once again between Abel and Dorn.
Whoa, the Rugel Dorn absolutely just kind of checked up there on the outside line, heading through 1 and 2, heading through turn 1, now 2. I think that was just so that way he can try to get in line, but the problem was he almost got ran over by Matthew Hubert. And look at Andrew Miller. He just got around Jordan Edwards for the 5th position, and he's already caught up to these guys.
Yeah, you mentioned Dorn kind of slowing down a little bit on that side of turn 1, and that allowed the 9 and 21 to close back in. And now Miller has a shot still today to get win number 6 on the season. It's going to be 10 laps to go. And the Gainbridge Brickyard one, and we got realistically 6 drivers, maybe even 7 for this race win, and they are some of the best in the JBL Cup Series.
I would definitely agree with you on keeping an eye on Logan Williams. He's definitely showing that long run speed here late in this run, but we do have those green flag pit stops coming up, and that's going to be the money stop right there. And what strategy is going to play out the best? And honestly, in my opinion, I would definitely say 4 tires is the way to go, realistically. But if you want that track position, 2 tires.
Oh boy, and I'm not surprised by this. He undercut it the first time. Why not just undercut it a second time? He put his in the number 5 machine, but Bright stayed out, and Seidel is gonna stay out as well. So let's go ahead and see what does Matthew Hubert do. I would imagine it would be 4 tires, because
I would 100% agree with that.
Sure, it's gonna be 8 laps to go, but you just did a whole field one on that set of tires.
And plus, on top of that, I mean, he could also get a splash and go here, so that way he has enough to make it the rest of the way. Because obviously a fuel run would be 16 laps. So I mean, even if you got a splash and go, you would still be guaranteed to go to distance on the tank of gas that you've got.
Looks like it's might be 2 tires.
2 tires. Wow.
Okay, well, that's gonna be a note in our playbook. As oh my goodness, Miller almost got shoved into the pit wall, entering pit wall with Bright, who edged out unable entering pit wall. Stuart Gran, Rokowski, Dylan Matthews, and a whole bunch of other drivers are on pit road, but this time it's more split. There's still a bunch of drivers on pit road, but it's more split 50-50 this time. Bright is going to take 2 tires, and I think that's what's going to be the strategy call here, is save as much time as possible and take 2 tires, and that is exactly going to be the case.
Yep, that track position is going to absolutely matter here in this scenario, so that's why a lot of these drivers are going to take 2 tires here and waste no time, get back out there, and try to make it all the way to the finish.
Abel lost his spot on pit road, but he should still be in the midst for this race win. Go back here. Next group of cars: Local Dawn, Logan Williams, Duncan Ward, Edwards, Monaco, Stout, Garcia, Woe, Trey Barlow, Wyatt Wilkinson, John Andrews, who's had a rough day, Kenneth Miller, BB Ruiz, Owen Miles, and Bruno Diacono, all on pit road this time by. I think that's just going to be the way to go. 2 tires. That's kind of shocking, but everyone seems to be doing it, so we've got to see how this plays out.
Trouble there on the pit stop for Rogaldor, and he stayed in the pits just for a little bit longer than what everybody else has, so that's going to cost him a few spots on the track.
A couple of spots, and we've seen it once today. Pit stops can leave you some trap position.
Oh.
That was tight on pit. Well, that's it. And I believe everything's gonna cycle out here. The 12th of San Vitale, last one on pit road, doing the overcut here today. And it's gonna be Eli Bright. How about that, as the race leader once it all cycles through. He put in 2nd, and Andy Miller in 3rd. Logan Williams in 4th, and Abel in the 5th position. I feel bad for Abel. He had a slow pit stop than some of the other drivers, and now he fell back to the 5th position. We'll see what Sam Vitale does, and yeah, he's gonna get past. So it will be Eli Bright as the race leader, and then Hubert Miller, and then Logan Williams, and Abel, Stuart Grand in 6th, basically where he's been all day. And then the RCR cars of Duncan Wood and the local one who had a slow stop as well. And Monaco. And then Jordan Edwards and Joe Witkowski. So basically a lot of drivers inside the top 10 all day, but have shuffled around. And how about this? Will this be a story with 5 laps to go? Can a non-chase driver kick off the chase with 4th in points back for Hubert and the number 1 seed of Andrew Miller right behind him? And we have the Pokemon winner as well as Noah's on pit road again with overcut. It's 5 laps to go, Elijah, and it is go time.
It is absolutely go time here, especially if you are Matthew Hubert or even Andrew Miller that want to kick off this chase with a win. They are both championship contenders. Remember Eli Bright? He is not. He's got nothing to lose, so he can just go out and ruin these chasers' day by just winning this race and taking it away from them. And he is in the best shot to do it, but watch out for Hubert because he's been really strong on drafting up to the back bumpers of some of the other drivers that he's been behind and setting up those passes going into turns 1 or even turn 3. But you also got Andrew Miller right here as well, who could practically do the exact same thing to Matthew Hubert. And if that's the case, I think that would be the saving grace for Eli Bright.
Absolutely, and you know, we still have 4 laps to go. That's a lot of time here at the Brickyard, and if things get wild, if things get hairy, and if things go side by side, that's going to allow Logan Williams to get back into the mix and maybe even unable. And Logan Williams, he's trying to get 2 wins in a row in the JBL Cup Series, and he's trying to do the weekend sweep and get career win number 16. 3 laps to go at the line, and you know what? This would be something for Eli Bright. He ended the regular season with 3 straight poles, and he started the last 3 races of the regular season with a win at Nashville. Trying to get his 2nd win in the last 4 races, but a terrible turn forward.
Wait a minute.
Side
he
by
lifted
side.
through turn 4. That's going to allow Hubert to pull up.
And
he absolutely checked up going through 4, and that's going to cost him.
a terrible 3 and 4 from Eli Bright. And you know what? You got remember, these guys are on 2 tires. All of them are on 2 old tires.
Oh, man, that's got to be gut-wrenching if you're Eli Bright, because we saw going through turn 4, he absolutely lifted to get into the corner, and that was all that Matthew Hubert, Miller, and now Logan Williams did. And look at this, they're going to fight for 2nd.
Where on earth did Logan Williams come from? He was outside the top 20 when he started this race today. No cautions, 2 pit stop cycles. Now he has a chance for the race win with 2 laps to go.
And now at this point, Hubert's just going to be on defense at this rate, and I think it's going to be very tough to do that because Logan Williams has just got an absolutely insane run through 3 and 4 just to get by Andrew Miller. Miller might have something in store. Taking a peek to the inside.
This is good stuff. Who says we need cautions at Indy? 1.5 laps to go. Williams to the inside. Bright trying to move Miller. And we might go 3 wide for 2nd.
Oh, that was close. That was very close between Hubert and Miller, but that was the breathing room that Logan Williams needed. White flag, no traffic around him.
White flag, the Palais white flag here at Indy, I should say. The Palais wanted to go at Indy. Logan Williams has a big lead, and they are swapping back and forth for 2nd. Abel is going to get 2nd now, all of a sudden, and I think, regardless of the fact, Logan Williams has had the best car these last 2 races at Pocono and at Indy, but the difference between Pocono and Indy is that Logan Williams didn't qualify well. He started in the middle of the field with no cautions whatsoever, and he's only going to lead 2 laps in this one. Abel and Miller will have a 1 to the finish, but I don't think it's going to be enough. How about this? I was wondering when someone was going to do this. I think for the first time this season, someone's going to do the weekend sweep. Logan Williams won the National Series race yesterday, and he will win the Gainbridge Brickyard 400 to kick off the Season 6 JBL Cup Series chase.
Wow, I think we'd have to deem Logan Williams the NR2003 version of Mr. Where Did He Come From? Because that was just wild. That run that he managed to get here within the last handful of laps, especially after that last pit stop that put him in the perfect spot to just absolutely he didn't even have to rely on the draft a whole lot. He literally just drove up to this point and literally drove himself to a win here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That is honestly very impressive from Logan Williams. Congratulations.
Oh my goodness, you said at one point he was 7th and he was pulling away from the second group of, I believe, Stout and Matthews and Monica and Grant. He was pulling away from them. And basically, with no drafting help, he was able to get inside the top 5, top 7, capitalized on pit stops, and when things got crazy at the end, Bright slipped up, and Logan Williams, 2-1 win the JBL Cup Series, does the weekend sweep. Don't think anyone's done that yet this season. Yesterday, he won the regular season finale for the National Series and won the regular season title. Got win number 15. Today, win number 16 and kicks off the chase with a race win. What a race, and who says we need some cautions for this race to be at Simon? What a race that was, and Logan Williams went from 25th. He started 25th today, and all the way up to the race lead with no yellow flags. What a race. Abel in second, still a fantastic one for him. He's going to be a factor at a lot of these races, I think. Miller in third, Hooper in fourth, Bright in fifth, Grant in sixth, Dorn in seventh. What could have been maybe a win, but had a slow pit stop at the end. Duncan Wood in eighth, Jordan Edwards in ninth, and Joe Kowski rounds out the top 10. A double top 10 for Legacy Motor Club. What a race here today at the Brickyard. And I think Noah Clifton, I don't know what happened, if something happened on pit road, or if that overcut really did not look out for him for that number 99 machine. What a race, Elijah. That might be one of the best races I've seen for the JBL Cup Series here at the Brickyard racing-wise. No cautions, no incidents, but boy, that racing was top-notch, and what a way to kick off the Season 6 chase.
That was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, big congratulations to Logan Williams. Fantastic racing all the way around, and that goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need cautions in order to have fantastic racing. Just put them on the track and have them have a long green flag run exactly like this, and they're just going to absolutely drop your jaws. I mean, because that was just absolutely jaw-dropping action. I mean, I don't even know. I'm speechless. I mean, I'm honestly very, very speechless by what we just saw there. I mean, the tire fall off from what we've seen as well. I mean, that proved to be all the difference right there for Eli Bright, because 2 tires. I mean, granted, all these drivers were trying to get in and out of pit road as quickly as they could. I mean, we saw the side effect, or really the negative side of taking 2 tires with Eli Bright. Absolutely lifted going through turn 4 just to make it through the corner, and that was all that drivers like Matthew Hubert, Logan Williams, Andrew Miller, for instance, that's all they needed to get by Eli Bright, move him out of the way, and just try to fight it out for this race win. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could hold off Logan Williams, because the hot rod that he brought today, man. Welcome to deliciousness, or as you know, the slogan would be for Culver's, but I mean, that welcome to, I would say, all-out speed for Logan Williams. I mean, that was just an absolutely amazing run that he put together today.
Absolutely, and you know what? He's going to be a championship contender. He's been very quiet all season, almost won the regular season championship, and he didn't win a race until Pocono 2 weeks ago. Last year, when he ended up being a top 3 contender late in the season, it took him about half a year to get his first win at Kansas. It took him a little bit longer, but the point still stands. He gets stronger as the year gets on, and I think we'll see it once again for Logan Williams. And when this pairing with Benny Watson, Frontline Motorsports, and Logan Williams was made, I thought this would be a championship contender, and I think we are seeing that now. Back-to-back wins and back-to-back caution-free races, and what a race that was here at the Brickyard. Gonna show the rest of the votes right there. What a race and what a finish, and I'm glad that these last 2 races are in caution free because next weekend for both Cup and National we are at the mile half and quite possibly one of the most craziest, most wildest mile halves on at least with the version that we use of Chicagoland Speedway for the race 2 of the Chase and the Chase opener for the Krispy Kreme National Series. What a race here today. And Logan Williams does the weekend sweep, and he is the winner of the Gainbridge Brickyard 400. What a race here, and huge thanks for Elijah for joining me up here in the booth here today. And of course, the points will be at the end of the video. Congratulations to Logan Williams on the race win, and what a race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Next week, we will be at Chicagoland Speedway, and until then, we will see you guys next time here on NS Racing 97.